Welcome to using container templates to speed up GTM implementations. Before we dive in, just a minute about who I am. I'm Manisha Mistry. I'm the technical marketer and instructor at Measure You. What does that mean? It means first that I became a measurement marketer back in 2022. As a measurement marketer, I work with our dedicated measurement management clients, helping them with their measurement strategy, helping them with their GTM implementations, and doing their GTM implementations. I also actively support client and member questions. I'm always supporting members and clients when it comes to GTM, but I also support things like BigQuery, Analytics Canvas, and Looker Studio. I love a good puzzle to solve, so if you have one of those, hit me up. Alrighty, let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to start off with diving into what are GTM container templates. Then we'll talk about the benefits of using container templates. Then we'll dive into a live demo. I'll walk you through a live demo of finding a container template and using it in Google Tag Manager. Then we'll dive into creating your own container templates, which is a huge time save. And then finally, you're going to want to stay tuned, as at the end, when I wrap up, I will give you access at a point where you can go get a free tool. And the free tool is a GTM container template cookbook that has over 10 plus container templates waiting for you. Alrighty, let's dive into what are GTM container templates. So the technical definition of a container template is it's a JSON file that includes tags, triggers, and variables. You can easily import that template in just a few clicks. It'll speed up your implementations. And then you can tweak the tags and triggers after importing them to fit your specific needs. But that's a very technical definition. Let's talk about a real-world example. So a GTM container template is a lot like a pre-packaged meal kit. Let's break that down. So the pre-packaged meal kit comes with everything you need. See, as you can see, there's all the ingredients you need. There's the beans and the fish and, the broccoli. Everything's in the box. In addition to everything you need, you also get detailed instructions. You get all the steps you need to follow to make this meal. And as an added bonus, you can tweak the meal. So you can add a little bit of spice if you like it spicy, or you can add a little bit of salt like me. I love my salt, so you may want to add a little bit of salt. And at the end, you get a meal. You get a beautiful meal, but everything showed up at your door, right? And that's a lot like a container template. You get everything in a pre-packaged kit. Now, let's dive into why to use container templates. Now, some of the benefits of using container templates are it reduces repetitive tasks. Setting up click and scroll, which I'm going to show you later on in this workshop, it's going to be minutes to set it up instead of 10 minutes. You're going to be down to a minute. It's going to be so fast to set up click and scroll. You can avoid human error. We've definitely had it in our team, where somebody names scroll as scroll tracking event, maybe the naming's off, or, they quickly are typing scroll and they miss the S. So by using container templates, you can avoid those human error mistakes. Having a consistent implementation across multiple accounts. The great thing about container templates is you could have 10 accounts, and because you're using templates, your implementation will be exactly the same. And finally, it's going to speed up your implementation. So you're going to see it because today we're actually going to set up a brand new container, get click, scroll, page view, and e-com tracking all done in this short workshop. So let's go back to the idea of container templates are like a pre-packaged meal kit, okay? We've all been there. First you're planning to cook dinner, you sit down on your computer and you go to find a recipe, right? This has to be the most dreadful thing for me sometimes because I go online and I'm like, okay, let's find a recipe for, making a chicken. Then I got to get in the car or on the bus to go shopping, which is also strenuous, right? I got to go buy everything at the store, possibly hit up multiple stores, right? Well, instead of doing all that, it's a lot easier if everything just showed up in a nice package, right? Because then I get everything I need, I get to my cooking, and I get to a meal a lot faster. That is the benefit of a container template. Unlike before, where I had to go through all the steps, let's back it up here, where I had to find the recipe and I had to go shopping, getting everything and getting straight to the cooking saves me time and saves me money, and I still get a beautiful meal at the end to eat. Alrighty, let's dive into a live demo of importing a GTM container template. And the live demo we're going to walk through is we're going to implement e-com tracking for our WooCommerce store, and I'll give you some tips. And to do this, we're going to use the GTM for WordPress plugin. So if you haven't used this plugin before, I'm going to show you the website to go to, but it's gtmforwordpress.com. So let's dive into our live demo. Alrighty, so here we are in Google Tag Manager. This is a container we already have set up. I'm actually going to go into preview and show you this firing on our demo store and show you what we're missing. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just paste my URL in here, and we are going to go fire up and go to our demo store. Alrighty, so here we are. And as you can see, as I move through, it is going to, fire things like scroll, right, and all that good stuff. So we are going to get our scroll depth firing. We have a few extra things firing because this is our teaching property, but you'll see we have our GA4s, then our clarity's firing and all that good stuff, okay? But something is missing from this setup, and that is our e-com tracking. So I'm actually going to come in here and, kind of walk through this. And you will see some of the events pop up on the side, and you'll see with this view items list, right? And I'm going to actually hop into an item, add to cart. Let's add it to cart. You will see an add to cart fires, right? But you can see I had no tags fired. There's no add to cart tag in here. And I'm going to fly through a purchase. I'm going to view my cart, and I'm going to go proceed to checkout. And let's just give it some billing details. This is where we can just kind of put in whatever we want in here. Just pop it in the details. We will pick a postal code. That is not my real poster or phone number, and we will just pop in one of these emails and be off to the races. Let's see if that works. Let's say no thanks. Ooh, yeah, this happens sometimes, so we're just going to add a plus, a little bit of a trick here, and a date so it knows to just create a new account. Okay, so what a lot of clients are going to want is they're going to want to make sure that when somebody gets to this final page, they've purchases happen, right? We bought something, right? They want to know. And if I click on purchase here, you'll notice there's no purchase tag, nothing. We need to set up e-com. Now, I could technically do it the way most of us do it, which is come in here and do new and create all the tags. That does take time, and I need to make sure I set everything up and I'm firing it on the right trigger. So it's like, hey, I got to set up all the what's, and then I got to set up the when, and I got to set up all my triggers. That can take some time. Well, how about we try a faster way? So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to type GTM for WordPress.com. And that was a website we mentioned in the slides earlier, okay? So this is the webpage for GTM for WordPress. Have to say it's one of our favorite plugins. If you have a WordPress site and you happen to be using WooCommerce, highly recommend it. Okay, you're going to come into Developer and you're going to go to, under Setup, and you're going to go to Google Analytics 4. And this is great because they actually walk you through all the steps and how to set it up. And this plugin is great because it does all the data layer for you. Like, it actually populates the data layer for you. And if you scroll about halfway down, you'll see right here, it's kind of hidden. You kind of have to look for it. But you'll see download the following Google Tag Manager GA4 container template. That's exactly what we need. So we're just going to click on download. And then you'll see this, which can be confusing for a second and be like, well, what do I do with this? So just right click and go save as, and then you're going to want to go save it in your downloads folder. You can rename it if you want it. So we're going to call it GTM. We'll call it GTM for WordPress GA4 container template. And sometimes I like to put the year in it because maybe I downloaded this. And the thing is, I can download this once now and maybe save it in Google Drive for my team, right? And be like, hey, you can find it here. But for now, we're just going to put it in our downloads folder. Okay, so now we have here, I'm going to actually bring it up, is this JSON file. I'm going to bring it on the screen. That basically just has a bunch of code in it, right? And you might be wondering, like, what's valuable here, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to close this off, and we're going to come into Google Tag Manager, okay? And what we're going to do is we're not going to, we're in Workspace right now. There's versions and there's admin. So we're going to head over into admin. And when we're in admin, we're going to come down to Import Container and click on that, okay? And then we're going to come here and we're going to choose the container template. So the first step is to go pick your template. So I'm going to click that button. And then I'm going to come in here and go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to pick this container template that we just downloaded, hit open. Now, this is the most important part whenever you are working with container templates. It's what to pick at this settings, because you can definitely, delete anything that is working today. So as you can see right now, I have it going to the current workspace, the default workspace. I have it set to overwrite. And if you notice down here, it's saying it's going to delete stuff. It's actually going to delete every single thing. Look at this. It's going to delete my entire. If I was to actually import this right now, it would delete every single tag and trigger and variable that we currently have active in this GTM. That is not something you want to do, especially because most of us will be working with clients who already have tags and triggers working in their GTM and want us to add functionality like ecom. So what do? So you actually come up here. First tip, click on default workspace and come up here, right corner, click on the plus, and then name this. In our team, because there's multiple of us, we really want to be cautious when we name stuff so that each of us know what we're working on. So we like to actually start with like, who is working on this? So my name is Manisha, so I'm going to put Manisha. So if Julie Brade or Sarah or Mercer was to come in here, they would know that this workspace in here belongs to me and I'm working on it. Then I would put the what I am working on. So I'm going to put implementing e-commerce tracking. So it's really clear of like who and what I'm working on. So, even if I was sick the next day, the team would know where to pick up and hit save. So now the good news is we have our container, template. We have our workspace, but we still have stuff deleting. So how do we avoid that? Well, this is where this section of choose an import option comes in. So you can overwrite, which is overwrite selected workspace with contents of the imported container template, which is saying basically, do you want to delete everything currently in your GTM and just replace it with everything in this container template? Most times you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is a merge. And then under merge, it says merge selected workspace with content of imported container template. So they're saying, well, hey, what do you want to do? And then you have a choice. Do you overwrite conflicting tags or rename them? We always recommend renaming them because then you have the option of saying, oh, if there is a tag with the same name, you can totally rename it yourself and decide at that time. So now we see here, we can see it's going to add 20, different things. It's going to add some variables to us. It's going to add a trigger. It's going to add a tag and then some more variables. This is first party data. And I'm going to go add to workspace. Okay, so now we wait. Now, if I wasn't talking through it and, I was just doing it without the conversation, that would have taken a minute or two to do. But now look at this. We have implemented ecom tracking. Now, there is one thing you need to do. So come back over here to the site. Make sure you hit back on here to go back to the site. Now, it gives you really great instructions here. So we did the import, right? We did all that. It says step 2, I got to go put a GA4 ID in. Okay, I'm going to hop in here and it's in the tag. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go look for our tag. This is our tag. And what it's saying basically here is you have to put your measurement ID in here. So the good news is I happen to have ours ready to go right here. If you're not using a variable and you happen to just put the measurement ID in there, you can just do that as well. So there we've popped it in there and we'll hit save. That is literally all I have to change. Now let's go through the funnel again, the ecom steps, and let's see it send events to GA4. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to come in here and what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to stop debugging the last one. I'll stop the last one and I'm going to restart it. Okay, so let's dive in and we will hop through a purchase together. Okay, let's make sure Tag Manager is firing. I always like to TBV. It's an acronym we use. It's trust but verify. Okay, so we got everything firing. We're now going to head over and do some shopping together. So I'm going to click on shop. Alrighty, let's just make sure Tag Manager is following us. Perfect. We are connected. I am going to go add to cart. And this is the moment of truth. Add to cart is an ecom event. So what we're expecting to happen is when we click on 38, we have a tag fired. Look, the tag fired. And we can see right here, we can see an add to cart event fired to GA4. That wasn't firing before, right? And look how quickly we got it firing. Okay. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to go view cart. And we're just going to step through these events a little fast so we get through a purchase. So I'm going to proceed to checkout. Okay, so the good news is all my information is here. I am literally just going to give this a second to load. And we are just going to add a T2 to the end of this. And hey, make sure Tag Manager is following us. Oh, see, some of this happens where Tag Manager doesn't follow you. This is always very normal. If this happens, just close out and restart. Not a problem. Let's just do a restart here together. It's always good to see these things live in a demo too, because they happen to everyone. Okay, so we're actually going to head back to our shop, and I'm hoping our items are still in our cart. So I'm going to head over to our cart. So they're still in our cart. Awesome. Let's make sure Tag Manager is following us. Sometimes if you go too fast, Tag Manager can get a little wonky. So maybe I need to slow it down. Okay, so let's just stop and wait for Tag Manager to wake up. There we go. We got Tag Manager coming with us now, guys. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to add a T2 to this. And what we're looking for is that purchase event. So remember last time we had that purchase event fire, but we didn't have any, any tag. We didn't tell GA4. And what the client wanted was, telling GA4. So I'm just trying to catch it. It is 85. And here you go. You got that purchase event fire. So we got that purchase firing to GA4. And it got all that good information. So that's awesome, right? It has what you need. And because the data layer has all the information it needs, right here, scrolling down, it has everything it needs, it just fires a purchase and grabs the information from the data layer. But that's how fast it can be, is you import it, and we got 20 different things, variables, tags, triggers, templates, all imported, and we didn't have to create a single thing other than update one tag. That is how quickly you can, set up your GTM using container templates. And I have to say, this is one that we very much love, GTM for WordPress and this container template. So definitely keep this in your back pocket in case you are implementing ecom for a GTM client that is using WordPress. Alrighty, so now let's dive into creating your own container templates. Now that we know how to import a template and how to use a template that somebody else created, how about creating your own templates so that you can implement faster? Now there's two parts to this. The first part is going to be all about creating a few, I'm going to say a few because maybe we want to create a few setting up Google Tag Manager, container templates. Just a couple things our team can have in their back pocket, right, as they are doing implementations or as they are setting up new clients. And then we're going to use those container templates to set up a brand new Google Tag Manager with container templates. And we're going to go start to finish. We're going to create a new container in Google Tag Manager, and then we're going to add our templates in there. Okay? So let's dive into the first part, which is creating a few setting up Google Tag Manager container templates. Let's dive in. Alrighty, so here we are back in Google Tag Manager. And now we want to create our own template. So how do we do that? So we're actually going to use a completely different container for this. We're going to come down here. And I'm going to actually back it up a little. I'm going to back it up and go to the main Tag Manager screen to show you what we actually have. So I'm going to scroll down a little. And I'm going to actually go to our Tommy Trader GTM account. And what may catch your eye is all of this. So everything from GA4, ACE, all the way down. Look at this. So we have pre-built templates that our team uses whenever we get a new client. And whenever we get a new client, we basically use these container templates to get things set up. So for example, we have this GA4 template basic setup, page view, click and scroll, like just the basics, right? And we have another one, which is the basic setup plus YouTube. And then we happen to have things for like Calendly or Infusionsoft or Vimeo and, YouTube. So we, built these things so that we could easily come in here, download them, and then use them on client setups, these templates, okay? So let's start with the first one. Let's do this one, the basic GA4 plus YouTube. So I'm going to click on it and show you how it looks on the inside. So on first glance, it just looks like a normal GTM container, right? So I'm going to come into tags and show you, we have a couple of tags set up. As you can see, we have like clicks, we have, the config and page view, we have scroll, we have some YouTube set up, we have some triggers set up, we have some variables set up, all that good stuff is all set up, right? And we have our GA4 measurement ID here. So how do you turn this into a container template? Well, GTM delivers greatly here. So you come into admin, and then you come down here, and remember we did import last time to bring a container in? Well, this time we do export. Okay, and this is awesome because first you pick your workspace. We're going to do the default workspace. And now it's saying, do you want all of this? And you could pick and choose. You can be like, hey, I want all of this, but I don't want this YouTube stuff, right? We're going to take all of it, but you can totally pick and choose what you want. Just make sure there's nothing client, data in here, client names in here. We're very cautious of making sure there's nothing client related in our naming convention. So just be cautious of that. And we're just going to hit export. And it downloaded something. So let's open that up. I'm going to bring that on the screen and show it to you. So similar to last time, we now get a JSON file, right? A JSON file that has tags, triggers, and templates, and you can see it goes on for a while. Now, How do we use this? Well, we're going to use this in a few minutes to set up a Google Tag Manager. But let's close this off and see what else we can create for our template. So this one covers, the basic GA4 YouTube setup. And let's say that, the site we're going to set up measurement for is this one, right? So, what else do we need? Well, we got the clicks, we got the scrolls. Let's go take a look at our templates. Is there anything else we can grab? I'm just kind of looking through our templates, scrolling down here. Coming down to our templates. We got that basic setup done. We could potentially do Calendly. We've done YouTube. Let's do the Calendly template because we happen to have a Calendly on this page, so we can grab this too. So again, same thing. This is another container template, so I'm actually going to go to admin, and I'm going to come here and go to export, and I'm going to go to default workspace, and here we go. We're going to export, and hit export. Okay, so now we have 2 container templates. Let me bring up my downloads folder to show you that. So here it is. It's popping open. Okay, so we downloaded a couple different things here. So this is where naming convention matters because as you can see now I have 2 templates and they're not named. So let's just TBV which one's which. So the one we just downloaded ended in T386 and that's this one. So we're going to rename this one. And it's great to name them. And what I mentioned earlier is you could totally save these in a Google Drive for your team. So they don't need to do this, export steps. We're going to call this GTM container template, and I am going to add the word Calendly in front of it. And as mentioned, we are going to tack the date on the ending. And I can totally put this in a Google Drive now, and my entire team could use it. And they never need to do an export again. And we're going to name this one as well. We're going to come in here. Let's just do this together. GTM basic setup plus we can do we're going to do basic dash YouTube container template 2024. So I could put these now in Google Drive, in OneDrive, wherever my team, shared documents are, and be like, hey guys, here's all the container templates. And this one, I'm gonna actually, see this one. This one is GTM for WordPress. I can name this one as ecom setup. So I could say this one is GTM ecom. We're going to say WooCom container template 2024. So now I have 3 basically container templates. I have a basic setup, get the basics in there, the page views, the clicks and the scrolls. I have the Calendly and I have the WooCom, so I can set up ecom. So now let's move on to the next step of basically setting up a container from scratch. Okay, to get started on setting up a brand new GTM container, we're going to move our templates to the other monitor. So I'm just kind of sliding over this window so I have it handy. I'm going to close this off. I'm going to come into here and I am going to go back up to our teaching account and open this up so I can get into the account and to create a new container. So I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to say create a new container and I'm going to call this 2024 demo account and I'm going to call it web. This is a brand new container. Okay, so we have a brand new container and we have new GTM. So I'm actually going to grab this code and in the background, I'm going to place this on the site just in the background so that we can then test this out together. And I will show you how you can do that with GTM for WordPress. As just a live demo is how you can do that in a few minutes, okay? But we're going to keep that handy. Okay, so as you can see, there is no tags. There is no triggers. There is no variables. I got nothing in here. The client has asked, they want measurement, they want page views, clicks, scrolls, they want ecom because they have a shop, and they want Calendly because they happen to have a page on here that has Calendly, and they also have YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Check out this awesome video here. Happens to have a YouTube video, if I'm not mistaken. This, I believe, is a YouTube video. So they want to track that as well. Well, how do we get this all set up? If I gave this to a team member, it could be a couple of hours of work, right, to get all that set up. Well, let's do this really quickly together. Okay, so we're going to come in here. We're going to come to overview. We're going to come to admin. We are going to come in here, and we're going to go import container template. Okay, and we're going to go choose a container file. And what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to come into downloads, and we're going to pick our basic setup with YouTube, and we're going to go open. Okay, so remember our tips we talked about earlier. Make sure we pick a workspace. And as mentioned, you may want to name your workspace with your name in case you have multiple team members and what you're doing. So I'm going to say basic setup plus ecom plus Calendly. So my team knows that here's what I'm doing, guys. Here's what I was working on last when I was on here in case I don't get to it. Okay, now that critical moment. Do you pick overwrite or merge? You pick merge and you pick rename. That way you don't delete anything that was already in the container. Even though this container was empty, we are still being very cautious what we pick here, just so that we get in the habit of picking that. Okay, so we have everything. We're adding all of this and we go add. Okay, so in less than a minute, I basically got all the tracking I needed for clicks, scrolls, and YouTube. Now, we do need to give it a measurement ID. So as you can see here is a constant. So you're just going to go get a measurement ID to pop in here. So I'm just going to go grab a measurement ID in the background. Let me head over to GA4 and get that. You can see where I'm going to get that from. I'm going to come into here and head over to our teaching account and grab the measurement ID live with you guys. I am going to just see why GA4 is taking so long. Alrighty, so here we are. This should load in a second. Okay, so this is another container. I want to grab our teaching account container, so I'm just going to head over there. Now, where do I get that measurement ID from? So you're going to let this load, and then you're going to click on the gear that shows up in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Okay? And then once you click on that gear, you're going to come into data stream, and you're going to come into that data stream. We have it already created. I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to hop back up in Tag Manager. And we are just going to paste that here. Bang, done. It's pasted. Okay. And as you can see, because it's using a constant, what's happening in the tags, and all these tags, is it's using that constant. See, it's using that GA4 measurement ID. It's using this constant. So this is all set up, okay? And we can take a second and TBV it if we want. Trust but verify. So I'm actually going to close this out, and I'm going to go preview. And I am going to need to update the site, so give me a hot minute here, and you're going to see me log into the site. I'm going to pull this on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So hold on here. I'm going to log out, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come in here and go WP admin. I'm going to show you guys this because this is, really important to see how quickly we can swap out Google Tag Manager containers with this GTM for WordPress plugin. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go plugins, installed plugins. And I'm going to come down in here. I'm looking for this GTM for WordPress. And this is our demo site, so it's okay to flip it out on this one. I wouldn't do this on our live site, but on our demo site. So I'm actually just going to copy this value. And I'm just putting this on a text pad in another screen so I have it handy. Okay, so let's go get this number here, right there. If you're looking for this number, you can find it there, but you can also find it right here. Right? Just grab that. I'm just grabbing that ID, and I'm popping it in here. And delete everything in here and pop in there. And you can have multiple. If you notice for a second there, we had multiple, see? But just because I am teaching live, I'm just going to put one in there to make it easy. Okay, so that is me updating the site so that basically now this GTM's on there and I can just take this off the screen, okay? To show you what happens there. Okay, so now we have that loaded and we have this loaded and we are going to stop debugging and we're going to start debugging again. And let's TBV, trust but verify our click, our scroll, and everything is firing. So we're just waiting to see, is it going to connect? Moment of truth, guys. Look at that. We imported and we got scroll tracking and we got GA4 page view firing. And, let's just do a click on this very long post. And is click being captured? Oh my God, we had click being captured. Okay, what do we need to do next? Oh, let's go check if YouTube's capturing. So I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to go back. I don't think I can get to the article from here. So I'm actually going to have to, check out this awesome video. Here you go. Okay, so here we are. Another moment of truth, guys. Is YouTube tracking going to work? Let's just make sure we fire it up on this page. Did it connect? I see a check mark here, and it did not connect. That's fine. Sometimes that happens. We do see that happen with Tag Manager sometimes. So if that happens, don't panic the first time. I've been there. We've all been there. Just simply go back to preview and give it a hot minute. Okay, so let's just TBV, trust but verify we're connecting. See that for a second there, it looked like it didn't connect, right? Didn't your heart stop like mine? Okay, coming into here. There it was. Check out this awesome video. Moment of truth, guys. Did it connect? And give it a minute. This page really does not want to connect today, does it? Alrighty, we're going to try this one more time, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to load on this page. That happens sometimes, so we're just going to give it a minute. And we are going to go preview, and we're going to hit that page directly and see if it's just a, tag assistant thing. Sometimes I have to like totally stop debugging and delete this and just kind of give it a fresh start. Let's see it connected. Who knows why it wasn't connecting earlier, but we seem to be connecting now. Okay, so let's do some YouTube. I'm going to play this and then quickly hit the mute button there. And let's see. So we saw, like you just saw YouTube, right? So let's go see. Here's our YouTube start, right? And it's getting all the information. This is a live video, URL, and getting all that good stuff already. This was all done by importing, right? And, then the YouTube tags will fire accordingly. This is a long video. I think this is an hour. Yeah, this is an hour. So, it's going to take some time to get to 25%, but that's how quickly we had it. Okay, now let's add ecom. I'm going to close it off. Come back in here. Okay, how do we add it? Go to admin. Come back here. Import container. Come back here. Choose a file. Okay, so we're going to pick our WooCom tracking. What do we pick, guys? We always pick our workspace. Now, because we already had a workspace going, we can just use the same workspace. Now, remember, we don't want to overwrite because I don't want to delete everything we just did. We worked really hard, didn't we? It took us only a minute, but still, we worked hard, right? Merge, instead of overwrite, rename, and bring it in. Add to workspace. So now we have ecom tracking. Now remember, we had to update one tag in here, right? And that was the tag, the ecom tag. So let's look for that together. You can look here. It's also a little complicated to look here, right? So I like to come into tags too. And you can kind of look for it. It sometimes takes a minute. And you have to refresh your container to show. And that's fine. Sometimes it's totally fine, but sometimes it takes a minute. And it does not want to show today. Let's just make sure it was added. See, it was added here. And come back here, and it does not want to show it here, which is super weird, but we're going to pick it from here instead. Because it was just a few seconds ago, so I'm just going to sort this by last edited, and I'm going to look for that tag. Right here, this one. Okay, all we got to do is update this to be our variable. And since we had the constant from the last one, we can just use that. So coming in here, I am looking for the GA4 measurement ID, and I can use that one. Save. So there's ecom, done, right? And our last one was Calendly. So let's go do that together too. We can import that. I would definitely do a preview here to validate everything's firing. But for time's sake, I'm actually just going to hop into admin and import my last container. So here we go. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to build out Calendly. And again, pick your workspace, right? Be careful. Pick that one. Overwrite. No, you want to merge and you want to rename. And we can go add. Okay, so let's take a look at what it added. And you can just sort this by a few seconds ago and you can see. So you got that data variable, you got the trigger, and you got another, constant variable here. See, this says replace with your own. And if you already have something like this, where you can, this is just the Google tag. Okay, so I don't want the Google tag firing twice. So this one I'm going to want to delete for sure. Be careful. Make sure there's not two Google tags. So delete that. And let's just double check that there's not two Google tags in here. There's only one Google tag. And sometimes it takes this a minute to update. We've noticed that. Sometimes it'll do that, but most times it doesn't. Okay, so we do see that we have our Calendly event here, but remember we need to update it with our event, our measurement ID. So I'm going to do those curly brackets and go find that one and save. Okay, so looking here, we got all that in here. Okay, so now let's do a quick preview. Check if ecom's firing, check if our Calendly stuff is working, and then we can publish. And that's how quickly we went from, start to finish. So I'm actually going to go to the main site now. Connect. Okay, so I'm logged in because we had to change the container ID. That's fine. Totally fine. Okay, so here we go. We get our page view firing, got our Calendly listener filing, guys. And you can go shop. And I'm actually going to click on the product and then show you guys like the view item firing. Okay, so here we go, view item. As you can see, we got our events firing, which is awesome. And we happen to have a Calendly page that's not a public page, so I just need to grab the URL. It's just not a page we keep public. I'm just grabbing the URL. Copy that. So I'm actually going to close this out and bring up our Calendly page to show you guys Calendly firing. But the nice thing is you can have these container templates ready to go, and your team can take care of importing them, TBVing, validating things are firing, and then getting back to you. Okay, so this happens to be a private page we have that has one of our calendars on it for Calendly. Alrighty, so here we are. This is our October calendar, and you can see that we're loaded, and you can say enable, which is totally fine. And we're getting the Calendly events firing, so we got all the Calendly events firing. That's how quick it was, how quickly we went from, hey, we have a brand new container template to having tags for ecom, for YouTube, for scroll all set up in here. That's how amazing it is. Alrighty, so let's wrap up and talk about how you can get your hands on the free tool I mentioned that's going to speed up your GTM implementations. We started off today with talking about what are container templates, GTM container templates. We talked about how they are just like pre-packaged meal kits that show up at your door, right, with everything in them. We then talked about the benefits of GTM container templates. We talked about how those pre-packaged meal kits speed up dinner, right? When you're hungry, well, GTM container templates speed up your GTM implementations. We then did a live demo of importing a GTM container template from GTM for WordPress, a super useful plugin. Then we showed you guys how to create your own container templates, and in this session, we set up a new Google Tag Manager container from scratch for our demo site, and we did it all through imports in less than 10 minutes. Now, let's talk about how you can get your hands on this free tool. And the free tool is the GTM Cookbook. And you must be like, okay, I want to get my hands on this. So let's talk about that. We are in the middle of rebranding. So the link you're going to go to is measurementmarketing.io/GTM Cookbook. Let me show you how you get it there. Alrighty, so here we are. We're going to actually come into here and go to a new incognito browser and paste that link in. So the link is measurementmarketing.io/GTM Cookbook. When you click enter on that URL, it's going to come to a circle community. It's going to come to the Measure You Circle community. You need to join the community to get access to this free tool, but it's completely free. Just want to stress that. So you're going to come to this page. You're going to click join, enter your name and email, and you will join. Okay, once you are in there, I'm actually going to grab this link and hop over to my previous browser. So I'm going to just kind of move this over and go here to show you guys what I mean. Is once you come into our Measure You community, as a free member, you will have access to a few different resources, and I want to show you these resources. Alrighty, so when you join completely for free, here we go, you get access to the student lounge, our training calendar, our resource toolbox, and our workshop library. You will find the GTM cookbook under resource toolbox, but definitely take a few minutes and take a look at the student lounge or the workshop library. So here is the resource toolbox. I want to show you how you can find stuff in here. So you can come in here and you see we have categories for you. So just click on Google Tag Manager and come down here and you will see it right here. But in addition to that, look at all these different things you get. You get a scroll tracking guide. You get a YouTube guide. You get a setup and installation guide. Okay, so to get this guide, you simply click on the post. And once it opens, there's going to be a link down here to say open the cookbook, and that's it. You got the cookbook. But in addition to that, as I mentioned, you get all this other good stuff in the guide, and you also get our workshop library with all our workshops. Alrighty, so there you have it. Thank you for attending using container templates to speed up your GTM implementations, and please go download that free guide.